everybody, welcome back to the shop. We are going to get the suspension done today on the Mustang. This is something I feel I need to have done for the best chances for this thing on the no prep surfaces. And these are the parts I got here to help me accomplish that. So for the rear springs, it's sitting a little bit lower. I can tell that the camber is off a little bit. These are the rear camber adjusters. These are the arms that allow you for more adjustment. These are the Viking rear shocks, double adjustable, and they do come with these here that help move. So there's no bushing down here. It's like a bearing, and this does tilt. And they come with some already correct length bump stops. And here is the front adjustable Kelltrac struts. So this one I have kind of together as far as how they want it. They want this little plastic piece here first, and then your bump stop on top. And then when you get the rest of the parts off of the original struts, you can finish putting it together. They also have nuts that do not lock because they don't want you hitting this with an impact. So when you put this together, you're going to tighten it down. It's going to have this, but there's no lock nut for that. They do sell this with the option of not having these, where you can just put the bolt through like normal, but they said that this operates better for movement, but it's probably going to make a little bit more noise because there's a slight front to back movement, so you'll have to live with that. All right, so we are going to start with the back, just because it's just going to be easier to do the back first. It's basically just shocks and putting those arms in. No spring compressors, anything like that. So I'll just do one side in the back. I'll get the other side done. And I'll move up to the front and we'll do the fronts. And it is going to have some BMR springs, minimum drop, they call it. It's for added weight of a supercharger. So it's going to sit a little bit higher than normal right now because I don't have that stuff yet, but that's what's going to be on there. So that's what I'm going to have. Okay, so now we're going to take the shock off. The top is 18 millimeters and the bottom is 15. That's all there is to that. Maybe we'll do the camber arm next. That one's a little bit tight in the back for one of the bolts, so we'll show how that is. So if you follow this camber arm in, I got my wrench on it. There is a nut way up in here. I don't have a ratchet wrench. That would be ideal, but there it is in there. You just have to take your time and get that one bolt out. You don't have to hold the back of it. You could just spin one side. It's got a piece on the back to keep it from spinning all the way around. So what I'm going to do is I'll get that nut off, and then we will do the one on this side and put it back in. All right, so this bolt here, the nut is nothing to get off. The issue is which I thought from the higher miles, this was stuck in the bushing of the original control arm, so it didn't want to turn. And this has got that flag on the back that keeps it from turning. So what I had to do is break this flag off, break this loose, spray some penetrating oil where the where the bushing sleeve is, and get this to spin all the way around. And I just spun it like a drill for about 20 seconds or so. And then this became to a point where I was able to pry the head of the bolt out with a pry bar. Now, I'll show you how I got the tool up in there. So what I did is I went over the exhaust pipe and then guided this on there. It's a 15 millimeter onto the back, and I just spun it around. But you will not be able to spin it at first until you break it loose. I use a long breaker bar to get it to initially break. And once I got it to do that, I was able to spin it with the impact. But now I can take off this other piece. This is the other bolt. I already have the nut off. I think I took the nut off. I don't know if it fell off, but I think I could just push it out. I might have to spin it out. And then we will take this to the table. We're gonna, for now, until it gets aligned, we're gonna match the hole size. Alright, so this is the part that I've seen on other videos that I'm like, what is he talking about? They're calling it a double adjustable piece. And they're saying you can either adjust it here or here. But that's not how this works, okay? The idea of, now what I have right now is I made it the right length, how it was stock. And then that's where we're going to start. But this is designed, this is a lock nut, and this is a lock nut, okay? They were spinning this side all the way in and said, we'll just adjust this side. Now you got this side with a gap and this side with nothing. And they're talking they only want a maximum of 20 millimeters of threads on each side. The idea is when it's on the car, without taking it off, you just turn it, this nut, the center, this is just kind of free floating here. To shorten it, or you can spin it this way and it lengthens it, because these threads are the opposite of this. It's just like a tie rod. So the idea is you just use one wrench to make this longer, and you get equal amount of threads on both sides. So you don't just do one side. I can't believe, like, it's a pretty good show too, that, you know, where they normally put stuff on, right? But that is just like, no. So I'm going to shorten it. And plus two, now it's exactly the same size. Now, what you do is, when you have this where you want it, you're going to turn this nut, because there's a wave ring right here, to like a lock ring. Okay? And then you tighten this up. And then there's a wave ring here. And then you're going to take this nut and go this way, and that's going to hold it here. Now, and that's it. And so when this is on the car and they do the alignment, they loosen that jam nut, and you turn the middle one way or the other to change the camber. You don't, the way they did it, if you lock one side in all the way, you would have to unbolt one end and just spin this end out and put it back on. That make no sense. So that is how that is done. So now it's pretty close. Like I said, these bolt holes are lining up. I could put this back on the car, and then it's going to need to get it lined. So all we need is to get the shock mount off and put it on the new one, along with, I'm sure the boot fits. We'll check that out and make sure. But yeah, again, this bottom is just free spinning, so this will help the back end drop where it needs to and move freely. So I already hit it with a gun. So 15 millimeter, take the top, take your boot, and we are not using that. We're going to use the one that they already have in there. And I guess this does not fit, so I guess we're not using it. All right, so basically just tighten this back on there. You got this bump stop they want in there, but I don't know. This doesn't look like it's gonna work, so it's just gonna not have it. I don't drive this in the winter. I'm not really too worried about issues with dust or whatever, but so that's gonna be it. So now we're just gonna put this back on. Okay, I got the supplied bolts to give you for the bottom. And there's your knobs. I don't know how easily they're reached with the tire on. We'll find out, but they're fairly easy right now. The rear one on this one's rebound, front one's the compression. I got it full loose right now. I don't know. Well, there's a chart he gives for that. So anyway, I put bolts up. Nuts up probably would have been, or I put nuts on the top. You don't really want those sticking down on the bottom, although it would have been easier to probably tighten, but it's all right. Oh, you still had to hold it anyway, and then the top just tightens like normal. So this side is done. So I'm gonna throw the other side on, and we'll get to the front. Okay, so I got the other side done. I wish I could say that it went easily, but it was about the same as this side, a little tougher, just because the fact the way the little flag on the bolt that keeps it from spinning was on the other one. I had to rotate it all the way around the other direction in order to like break it off, because that was the same thing I had to do. I had to get it to where you could keep spinning it to loosen up the rust inside that bushing to get it out. So. And there's a little bit more room because the gas tank tube is not in the way, but not that much. So, but anyway, both sides are done, and I can get the specs on where they want you to start with the compression and rebound. So the knobs are a little bit hard to get to, probably with the tire on. They're pretty easy, like right now. I do believe they make a reverse kit to put the shock on upside down, and then the adjustments will be up there, but I still think you're going to have a hard time reaching it. But the settings I have for street, no prep basically to start with, is 3 clicks from all the way counterclockwise or all the way loose. So the compression I have set to 3 clicks from loose, and the rebound is right now 8 clicks. So we're going to try that out for the rear. So now I can get the tires back on this thing and start with the front. So I decided to do this in a 2-part video. So we'll end this to continue on the front ones for the next video. So please hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll catch you on part 2.